All right, here we are. We're live once again, as usual, 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, right here on PWP Nation on YouTube. My name is Jay. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button down below. It's super important that you do that, and also leave a comment, please. If you have something to say, I don't want you to leave a comment just to leave a comment. If you have something to say and you want to add to the conversation, please leave a comment. But tonight, we're going to get right into it. I have my close personal friend who I think I've known through the wrestling community originally for maybe a decade now, maybe somewhere around that ballpark, I would say. And you're a good dude. You're a nice guy. And we've had our political conversations recently. And I'm happy to have you on my show tonight. Meet KME. You can find him on Twitter at KMEzDoesIt, brother. What's up, man?
Man, chilling, just enjoying this California sunshine for as long as we have it. At least I'm expecting some day after tomorrow weather here soon, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, man, we're experiencing it over here in the Northeast right now. It is cold, dude, and we all know what's happening in Texas. That's a big political thing. But I want to talk to you about a couple things tonight. And the first thing I want to get into is something that is super important to me personally, and that has kind of brought me back into politics and paying attention to what's going on. And
Right.
that is the mainstream media coverage of politics. And like I mentioned before, we're both kind of from the wrestling community. We pay attention to what goes on there. And there's no community that has more fake news and, look that way when something happens this way. There's no community on the planet that has more of that, I think, than the wrestling community, except maybe the political community, because on both sides of the fence, both sides of the equation, we have outright fake news. We have hyperbolic reactions to everything, everything. Nobody can just take a chill pill, relax, take a step back. So tell me what the problem is with the mainstream media and how we can solve this thing.
So
And you know what? Hold on, KME. Hold on, brother. Hold on 1 second. Please, first of all, I did you a injustice. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Tell us your credentials, and then go into the mainstream media thing, because I want everybody to know who you are, what you do, and why you're going to absolutely school me tonight.
Okay, so we'll see about that. My name is Christopher Marquise Ely. I when I met you, I was working on getting to where I'm at today. So I was like at the very beginning of it, and now I'm a few years removed from that goal. So I'm a political science professor. I'm a researcher. I work for political campaigns, and that's mainly my field of focus. Like what I do is I look when I'm not teaching political science. I look at statistics, graphs, maps all day to make a sound prediction. Prediction is the wrong word. Psychics make predictions. To make a sound forecast of what I think is going to likely happen in that election. And I'm not. I'm one of those. I'm definitely politically liberal. I'm not shy about that. But when I make predictions, those predictions are not liberal or conservative. Those predictions are what the math is telling me. So this past election season, I had people on my side that were pissed at me because the prediction that they were hearing from me wasn't what they wanted to hear. And then I had people who, one of the forecasts I made was Donald Trump was going to lose, just because I was looking at the trends and what was going on in society and what my math was telling me about how he was going to lose. And sometimes I just rip off other people's math who know more than me in this field, and just that's my prediction. Like there's this guy, Alan Lichtman, who is a very good political forecaster. Anytime I make a prediction on who's going to win the presidency, I look at Alan Lichtman, and if he says it, then I'm almost 100% sure it's going to happen because he's never wrong. So that's kind of how I go about these predictions and things of that nature.
All right. So I just pulled him up. I'm going to pull him up and show everybody who this guy
Yeah.
is because I have never heard of him. And again, this is great because I don't know who this guy is. Maybe I've seen him before, but
Mhm.
I can't tell you that I remember who Alan Lichtman is. So we're going to look at this dude. And here he is, Alan Lichtman. Alan J. Lichtman is an American historian who has taught at American University in Washington, D.C. since 1973. So he has experience. Born in 1947, Lichtman created the keys to the White House model, which he created with Russian seismologists. Okay, Vladimir Kelis Borak in 1981. Okay, I think I've actually seen this guy. I think I saw him on the media basically say what you were saying is that the prediction was that Trump was going to lose.
Mhm.
Watching that prediction, it didn't make a lot of sense to me because I saw the momentum that Trump had. I know we were in this crazy pandemic, and that may or may not have had a lot to do with him losing. But I
Mhm.
did not see that kind of enthusiasm behind the Biden campaign and Joe Biden in general. Actually, Joe Biden is part of the reason why I no longer consider myself a liberal. I definitely don't consider myself a conservative or a Republican or a Democrat. I would say at this point, I'm more of an anarchist kind of, or like, maybe a little bit of libertarian. I don't know. I can't really put a definition on it. I would consider myself a capitalist that cares about my and my family's personal interests at this point,
Mhm.
and having the ability to break away from the normal, 9 to 5 kind of brainwashed state of mind that the majority, I feel, of the American people have. So going back to my question about the media, considering I have seen this guy on the mainstream media, and I'm sure it was both sides because I watch all sides and I watch a lot of
Mhm.
independent media as well. What's the problem right now with both sides of the media? Because it's obvious you see it on both angles. There's no, I don't think anybody would deny if they really watched both sides of the story, there's something wrong. What's the disconnect?
I think the main disconnect for the media is we live in a society where nobody trusts anything. So that leads to a lot of anti intellectualism, which is something that I'm against because I consider myself an intellectual. I don't know if anyone else does, but that's kind of how I play this game. Because like I said, everything with me, I used to be a very like religious based person. Probably like right at the beginning of when I met you, I believed in a lot of. Can you cuss on this show?
Yeah, you say whatever you want, man.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I believed in a lot of religious bullfuckery that didn't work for me. And that doesn't mean it doesn't work for someone else, but when I wanted answers to questions, it didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my attention turned towards science and research. And that's not to say that religion doesn't have any merits. It just in the field that I work in, that's not going to be a reliable metric for me to make decisions, so that's what's going on right now. And I think when Donald Trump ran for president in 2016, the one thing that he was able to tap on is kind of the mundaneness of the political process. Politics is boring. That's one of the reasons why I don't subscribe to a lot of conspiracies unless it's backed by research. And then if it's backed by research, it's no longer a conspiracy. It's what their research is showing. But um, I don't. But he was the political science is boring. It is boring. When I've worked in Washington, when I was intern at the courthouses, all that stuff, I was bored to death doing it. So that kind of was like, because I was one of those people that subscribed to a lot of political, like, just malarkey. I believe that 9/11 was a hit job and stuff like that because it just the information I was taking in was leading me to those thoughts. And then once I became I received new information, I was able to kind of decipher things for myself. and come to my own conclusions. And that's another thing too that I want people to understand is your the conclusions that you come to are you just have to come to them on your own. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I suggest is you do take in media, even if it's media that you don't like. You take it in. There's something in the social sciences that we call confirmation bias, and that basically means when the media that you're taking in is only media that feeds into a preconceived notion that you might have. Um, I watch everything like yourself. I watch a lot of MSNBC, but the thing with that, and I'm a fan of MSNBC for the most part, but if I only watched MSNBC, it wouldn't give me a true reading of the world that's going on around me. It would just be, okay, you're watching MSNBC, and this is what the MSNBC world is saying. So, for that reason, I have to watch, CNN. I have to watch Fox. I sometimes have to watch One American News Network and Newsmax, things that I detest. And I'm not necessarily watching them for news, because a lot of times what's called news isn't necessarily news. It's talking heads giving opinions,
It's what
and
we're
then
doing. Yeah.
they're like, right, like this wouldn't be considered news. This is
Yeah.
more us talking about the news. So you're gonna get that with like Neil Cavuto. Not well, Neil Cavuto during the day. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be mostly news, but him talking about it. But someone like a Chris Cuomo or a Joy Reid or any of those guys on Fox, Hannity, Tucker Carlson. Those guys talk about the news, but they are not news provocateurs. They're not people who I would rely on for the news. The best source of news to me, this is my opinion, is reading the newspaper. And I'm talking about front page news. I'm not talking about editorials or op-eds or anything like that. I'm talking about what's on the front page of the newspaper. And it doesn't really matter the newspaper, because the front page is always going to be essentially what happened that day. And then you can read other newspapers and see which news you like, how the news is delivered that you like it the best. I don't think it's the problem with. I don't think the problem is either side of the aisle when it comes to news. I think the problem is that news in 2021 is so a la carte. You can freeze yourself from anything you do not want to hear. That is just how it is. I don't have that luxury in my career field. I have to listen to everything, and then I have to make an interpretation to just be fair to what my profession requires of me.
Yeah. When I watch somebody like Rachel Maddow, who is on MSNBC, I
Mhm.
used to, when I was a liberal during the Obama era, I clearly have told everybody I voted for Obama twice, voted for Hillary Clinton, and then I voted for Trump in 2020. And there's many reasons behind that. But I used to listen to her a lot. I would listen to Bill Maher a lot. I was very much stuck in that entertainment aspect, that kind of what
Mhm.
you were alluding to, the Hannitys of the world, the Tucker Carlsons, and like all these guys. They're entertainers. Chris Cuomo, they are entertaining you. Their money is made through advertising dollars. The big paychecks they're getting, the big contracts they have, are because the advertisers are paying money to play commercials during that show. That's it. End of the day, that is it. So you have to take what they say and then do your own research on it by exactly what you said, KME, exactly right. Reading the news sites, the front page news sites, or finding, in my opinion, the best route is to find independent media sources, because many of these independent media sources, many of them, do exactly what you said that you did with your forecasting, and that is taking the math, so to speak, and then kind of giving it out to the people, because a lot of these independent newscasts don't have that kind of advertising revenue behind them. They're DIYs, they're doing it themselves. They need to really provide you with that kind of unbiased aspect of everything, even if it might lean one way or the other. I mean, that's just going to happen. That's just how we are. We're tribal.
Mm-hmm.
But I suggest independent news. What do you think of the independent news that is out there? And you could go to any spectrum. I mean, all the way to InfoWars, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, so I trust mainstream media a little bit more than I trust independent news, and the reason why I do is because independent news has more. Okay, for example, Newsmax was promoting the newscaster. I forget the guy's name. Forgive me, but he was saying 2021 was filled with election fraud and this and that. And he's Newsmax is on the mainstream media channels now. So when he was promoting that long enough, Newsmax finally stepped in and they were like, okay, this is bullshit. If you do not stop saying this, we will sue you. So, of course, they wrote a retraction and they've kind of chilled on that a little bit.
Which is the right thing to do when you're repeatedly wrong about something, or overly hyperbolic, or if the company that you are being literally, we can just say, I think we can say Dominion Voting Systems. They actually told Newsmax and some of these news organizations to stop saying this, or we're going to sue you.
Yeah,
for defamation. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, and one of the things that I am is my main focus of study is the First Amendment, right? That's what I study, and I look at all kind of different cases. Like I'm not like I would fancy myself an expert, but even if you're an expert at the First Amendment, you're still not going to know every single case. But I can say, New York versus Sullivan, what happened in that case? You could say Snyder versus Phelps, Gideon versus Wainwright. You can name these different cases and kind of come up with because the First Amendment law, there is a consistent inconsistency about it. But one main consistency is that if you are going to accuse anybody of anything, you need to have proof of it. I'll give you an example. When I was an intern at the courts, there was this case where this guy went to a bakery and he didn't like the bakery that he was at. So he goes on Yelp and he just writes all kind of scathing things about this bakery, and your face is seen on Yelp and stuff like that. So she knew who the guy was. So he goes to the restaurant. He goes, the food there was so nasty. That's an opinion, right? Nasty food is an opinion. But then he goes in on the place was so dirty, and I think I saw a roach crawling around, and everything was just so fucked up about this place. Never go here, blah, blah, blah. So she sees the review, and then she takes him to court and she sues him. What happens in court is this guy goes and all his only proof is, hey, I went there and the place was nasty and smelled bad and this and that. That was his proof. Right. What was the woman's proof that the restaurant wasn't nasty and all that shit?
Well, she's in the restaurant. She can take pictures. She can.
Not even that. She had the most important thing that she has is government review. So in LA, we have the A, B, C, D, E, whatever, A, B, C, F reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're in Jersey too. They're in Jersey too. All the restaurants and stuff, they have to have a certificate on the wall and stuff.
Yeah,
certain, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's so she had an A on that review. This guy had no pictures. He had nothing to verify what he was saying. So that was why And they did. Yeah, she was suing them for something ridiculous like 50,000, and I don't think she ever expected to get 50,000. But what the judge did say to her, what say to the guy was, "Look, man, if you have no proof that you found these things in the restaurant, you've got to take that review down, or you will have to pay the 50 G's or whatever that this lady is asking for." So of course he took it down, and that's what's going on with Dominion right now. It's like if you're going to say this, you got to have proof of it, and if you can't produce the proof of it, then you must take this down because we are not going for that. It's a flex, you know what I'm saying? And that's all it is.
Now, do you think the mainstream media should abide by that same principle? Because there are a lot of times, and you can't deny this, where the mainstream media gets something wrong or they're over hyperbolic about a subject and they don't do a public retraction. They don't amend the story and it sits there in news feeds and on Twitter for hours.
Right.
Do you think they should be more vigilant in retractions and taking things back?
It depends on what they're hyperbolic about. If you are a Trump supporter and you hate all the libtards and you think the libtards are stupid, and you think that the science on global warming is inconclusive, you can realistically say that and get away with it because there is inconclusive science on global warming. Even if you think that a lot of the science is conclusive, there's enough inconclusivity there to where you can be like, okay, maybe this isn't maybe I can debate this like what's going on right now and say this is how I feel, this is how I feel. The truth might be somewhere in the middle. So that kind of hyperbolicness, I can't say the word, but that kind of hyperbole,
There it
I
is.
don't like it, but it's your prerogative. That doesn't need to be retracted. What needs to be retracted is if you get something wrong that you've got no proof to back up. That's the only thing that I think you need to retract. Um, I don't like Laura Ingraham. I don't like Sean Hannity. They don't need to, but unless they're just saying something that's blatantly false, they don't need to print a retraction. They don't need to like report a retraction. Lou Dobbs got removed from his position from Fox because he was saying something that he could not verify. And that's the thing too, is we have to be able to verify the things that we say. That's why, and this whole thing started over the voter fraud with us getting here today over the voter fraud stuff. And here's my thing with that.
I think there's
Um,
voter fraud, and I think there's voter fraud in every election, every single
but
one.
but but here's the thing with that though. If you're gonna throw out those accusations, and I don't mind if you do, but you got to have proof to say, hey, there was voter fraud there. A theory is not proof. A theory is just what a bunch of people think. Proof is something you can produce to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court can say, oh yeah, this is worth fighting against, and then they'll draw a conclusion. In 2000, when there was the issues in Florida and stuff,
Mhm.
there was enough there for the Supreme Court to be like, okay, we can at least argue this. When argued it, said, hey, I don't see any inconsistencies with how voting went in Florida. We're calling this election for um, George W. Bush. At that point, all you can do is accept it. And that was my problem with the insurrectionists. So like these motherfuckers that went to the Capitol building. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Is my question. You go there, like I've had family members on death row who got the gas chamber, who like people that just have had bad decisions after bad decision after bad decision. Once you go through all the legal channels, all you can do at that point is say, hey, this is what the court said. Even if it's something as serious as going to death row. I don't give a fuck if it was Michelle Obama. if the courts say, hey, after you exhausted every single legal channel, this woman is going to death row and there's nothing you can do about it. Storming the building where she's going to death row is not going to change that decision.
Yeah,
Now
it was
you have
stupid.
to, yeah, you have to come up with some other remedy to the problem that you think you're having. And that was kind of my whole thing with the election fraud. And that's kind of why I'm like, I bang on people who come with that, because the only question after that is, where is your proof?
Sure.
Not what you read in this book and InfoWars or the Communist Manifesto or whatever the fuck it is you read. What proof by that's been verified and looked at by a bunch of different eyes can you bring me? Can you bring to a justice, a Supreme Court justice that shows, hey, yeah, there was some voter issues here that they're gonna look at and take serious. That's your burden right there.
Man, I appreciate that. That's a very good stance, and I tend to look at it a little bit differently personally. We can
Yeah.
elaborate way more on this in future conversations because I want to have you on this show consistently if you want to do it. But my take on that is like, I don't trust anyone, especially our government and the media that is like colluding with the government and big tech, which is colluding with the media and which is colluding with the government. They're all like I don't even know what word to use. It almost feels like we were going to get into the Great Reset a little bit and like this World Economic
Yeah,
Forum thing,
yeah.
but we can do that another time because this thing is just only in the very early stages of it. So we'll be talking about
Okay.
this for many years to
Well,
come,
yeah,
I'm sure.
I don't mind. I'm not like very learned about the Great Reset, but I know the Catholic Archbishop that came with it. I can't. His name is escaping me at the moment. But yeah, I know. Like, he didn't come up with the Great Reset, but he came up with the whole thing where the government, the world leaders with the COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see. This is
yeah.
my thing. My mind cannot go there with my way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? It just like I said. If I see some like good, palpable, touchable, smellable research there that says, hey, this thing, um, it, I'll agree with it. But like I said, I just know how the government is when it comes to things, and I'm not one of those people that trust the government. That's the wrong word to use. What I trust are processes, and there's certain processes within the government system that I definitely trust more than others. There are definitely processes in the government system, especially in the United States of America, that definitely need to be looked at, corrected, fixed, amended, whatever. But the process itself, I'm always going to um, go with that process unless I just see something that's so egregious, unless I see something that goes like completely against the norms that I've grown used to in my 40 years of living, right?
No, I see where you're coming from, man. And I think that's, we can talk more about the Great Reset in the next episode that we do this. I'm really glad you're
Okay.
able to introduce yourself and we kind of got this first one under our belts. And I learned a lot, man. I really did. I didn't know who Alan Lichtman was. I'm going to go back. I'm going to listen to this again. And this is how I learn, is having conversations with people. And I think the open civil discourse and discussion should be more of a regular thing. Like, I don't really like Bill Gates, but I would love to see Bill Gates actually talk to somebody who really doesn't like him and question him for the reasons why we don't like him and hear his response. But no, we see powder puff pieces on the mainstream media with him every single day, seemingly. The same thing can be said about President Biden. But we have plenty to talk about in the future, KME, bro. Before we get out of here, any final words you got to say today or anything you want to plug?
Oh no, nothing at the moment. Just KMEZ does it. When I'm done with my dissertation, I'll probably make it public for everyone to see it. It's going to go in front of the board at the school that I attend right now, and it's also going to go. Also got to go in front of the International Review Board. So what I'm hoping is my research is on the up and up. And if you take it seriously, great. If you don't, then hey, it is what it is. But all I can say is I've done my best to do a accurate portrayal of what I am finding.
Here's this tweet. I love this tweet. I'm just on your page right now when you're talking about Jericho's wife, dude. I love this. I'm going to read these. The quote, KME, being a MAGA is one thing. I don't like it, but I will let you do you. Believing you can overturn a presidential election, however, is a whole other level of toxic, dumb fuckery. And then, as far as I am concerned, Jericho's wife being at a Stop the Steal rally means that she thought that her and these other MAGA dumbasses thought they were going to overturn the fucking election. This is a problem. Bro, I love that. I think that's a great thing to end on tonight. And I appreciate you doing the show. I appreciate you doing the show, and I'll hit you up soon, and we'll do another one. All right?
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Cool. Thanks, Cammy. Talk to you later, bro.
All right, peace.